Hey guys, Sam here. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to light like Roger Deakins. So we're going to be recreating 3 shots from one of his best films, in my opinion, No Country for Old Men. Now, if you guys haven't seen No Country for Old Men, I highly recommend you watch it for the cinematography alone, but it's overall one of my favorite films. It builds suspense slowly and masterfully throughout the entire movie, and a huge part of that suspense is conveyed visually through the cinematography. So today I'm going to show you guys how you can not only replicate the look of this film, but the reasons behind why it was shot the way it was shot. So the 3 shots we're going to be recreating are, first, this bedroom shot with Moss sitting on his bed waiting for Shiger to come in, this shot on a bridge near the American-Mexican border, and lastly this shot where Moss is sitting in front of a car in the middle of a gunfight with Shiger. So first I'm going to talk about how to create this bedroom shot. So one key component of a lot of Deakins films is silhouettes, and this is definitely one of my favorites because of the texture, the grittiness, and the suspense in the scene that it creates. So the only setup involved for this shot, besides rearranging some furniture, was to get a white sheer fabric with a pattern on it that was thin enough to allow a good amount of light through. So you can pick one of these up at Walmart or any other place that sells fabric, and I placed that over the curtain rod in the room. This pattern would then be projected on the wall when a light was shot through it. So to light the shot, I used 2 lights plus a practical to achieve the look. So due to the nature of the location, the fact that the window was pretty far away from the wall onto which I would be projecting the light, I had to use some makeshift items to modify the beam of light coming from my Aperture 300D so that it was smaller, which would make it more of a hard spotlight. I also moved it back away from the window, which causes the light to create harsher shadows when it hits objects. Generally, the farther your light source is from your subject, the harsher the shadows will be because the source is smaller relative to the subject. In a shot like this, you want the light to be as harsh as possible to get clear shapes on the wall. I placed the main light at an angle so that the subject would be silhouetted by the light being projected on the wall. The second light I added closer to the window to fill in some of the dark space behind the subject. On each light, I either changed the color temperature to 3200 Kelvin or added an orange gel to get the orange look I wanted. Then, to light the rest of the room, I simply placed a lamp on a stool as can be seen in the original image, and I was good to go. And here's the final result. So the next shot I did was this bridge shot. For this one, I wanted to match both the color and approximate placement of the lights in the scene. This shot utilized street lights and has a nice complementary color contrast between the orange of the street lamp below and the green-blue of the vapor street lamp above. So first I wanted to match the color of the practicals in the scene. We gelled the overhead light that was in the tunnel we were shooting in to a teal color. Then I wanted to finish lighting the environment, so we placed an Aperture 300D below the bridge shooting up at the wall with the Aperture Light Dome modifier to soften it. We then gelled it orange to match the color in the reference shot. This created a nice silhouette of our subject and also brought out the shapes of the chain fence, which added a lot to the texture of the shot. So now that the environment was lit properly, we could move on to lighting the subject. So to simulate the street lamp, we placed an Aperture 120D up as high as possible on a C-stand, shooting down directly at the subject's face with no diffusion. I wanted to match the harsh shadows on the face seen in the reference photo. We did place a piece of diffusion on the side of the lamp, which made the light fall off on the ground much more smooth, since it originally created a hard line in the shot. I like this shot because it showcases a masterful silhouette of the subject once again. The shape is clearly defined by having contrast on all edges of the actor. The right side of the actor is dark and the background is illuminated, while the left side of the actor is illuminated and the background is dark. So it creates a really nice balance of both luminance and color in the frame. So the last shot I wanted to recreate was this shot of Moss in front of the car. I started with the car parked in front of one of these lamps to be a base for the backlight you see on the character. So I added an Aperture 120D on a C-stand behind him and a bit to the left up as high as possible, again to simulate a street lamp. I didn't use any diffusion on the lamp and left it at daylight, which is about 5200 Kelvin. This also added some nice specular highlights on the car behind his head. Then I added an Aperture 300D at the front of the car with a softbox attachment to soften the light on his face. I placed the light up above his head and angled it down to give some nice shadows and depth to the face. I made this light less intense than the backlight to match the scene. Then I added a black piece of fabric in order to block out some of the excess light coming from some other lamps above a storefront window that was flattening out the face and getting rid of some of the shadows I wanted. And there's the final shot. And that's it. So some very practical lighting setups with only 2 lights that you can do with pretty much anything you have and a little creativity. I like Deakins' work because it's very simple and naturalistic, yet still conveys a ton of visual information and looks beautiful. Beauty and simplicity is really what defines Deakins' work. If you guys would like to see more lighting recreations, comment and let me know what movies you'd like me to do. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys learned as much as I did from this exercise.